Hey, Wayland Middle School. My name is Lily, and I want to talk to you about how you and your friends can support each other during difficult times. No matter who you are, things are changing a lot right now, and it's hard to know what will happen next, which might feel really overwhelming. It's important that you know who you can turn to when things are hard and that you know how to help the people that you love. You might notice that there's a phone number at the bottom of your screen. This number is available for you to call or text anytime you'd like to talk to someone 24/7. All day, every day, volunteers use their time to answer the phone calls and texts that go to this line. You can use this line anytime you need someone to listen. It's free, confidential, and a safe place to turn to get support. Whether you're having one bad day or supporting someone else who's struggling, or even if you're feeling suicidal, our volunteers are ready to support you no matter what. No problem is too big or too small. You can write down this phone number for yourself or give it to a friend who might be struggling. So let's talk about how you can support a friend who's struggling. It's important to recognize that not all people find it easy to communicate that they're struggling or to ask for help. It can be important to look out for things that aren't always clear, but that could indicate that someone's struggling. These are called warning signs. Warning signs are changes from someone's typical behavior. Thinking about someone you know really well, you probably know how they usually dress, what their favorite things to do are, how they like to spend their time, how their moods tend to be, things like that. If these things started to change over the course of about 2 weeks, we might consider those changes to be warning signs. A warning sign can look different for everyone. It's important to keep in mind what's typical for one person and what it might look like when those things change. Common warning signs include isolation from friends and family, changes in sleep or eating habits, mood changes, or changes in hygiene. Now, you might be saying to yourself, I'm stuck in my house right now and I can't visit my friends. How will I know if something's changing? Right now, it's a little harder than usual to watch out for each other. It's important that we ask each other good questions to make sure that we're checking in with our friends. Some example of questions are, how have you been sleeping lately? What does your day-to-day look like? What are you doing to take care of yourself? Asking questions is a great way to show that you care and figure out if somebody you know needs help. I want to see how much you already know about warning signs. Let's test your knowledge a little bit. How do you know if someone's behavior is a warning sign? A, you think they're weird, but they're acting the way they normally do. B, they're handling a situation differently than you would. C, their behavior is different than how they normally act for an extended period of time. Or D, they're having one really bad day. The answer is C. A warning sign is a change in behavior that's different for a specific person. It has nothing to do with what you would do, only what's normal or not normal for your friend. Everyone has bad days or days where they act differently, so one off day isn't necessarily a warning sign. But if you're worried about someone or unsure, it's always okay to check in. Let's do one more question. If someone you know is always saying they're tired and sleeps for 10 hours every night, what might be a warning sign for them? A, they're sleeping for a really long time. B, they're only able to sleep for 6 hours a night. C, they're constantly telling you how tired they are. Or D, they're acting differently than you would normally act. The answer is B. For this person, only getting 6 hours of sleep a night is different from what they typically do, and that would be a warning sign. Now that you know what to look for in someone who might need help, it can be just as important to know how to start a helpful conversation about these things. All you have to do is remember 3 steps: listen, ask, and get help. Let's go through those steps now. The first thing I want to do if a friend comes to me who's struggling or might be having thoughts of suicide is to listen to them. We all know how to listen to someone, but there are lots of little ways that we can be even better listeners. Let's talk about good listening skills. When I'm listening to my friend, I make sure that I'm not interrupting them. They came to me with a hard problem, so I'm going to let them talk as much as they need to. I'm also going to make sure that I put away any distractions. So if we're talking on FaceTime, I might not be texting someone at the same time or scrolling through Instagram. This also means using good body language. Even over video, it's important to face the camera, make eye contact, and nod along with the person who's talking so they know that you're listening. I'll make sure that I have thoughtful responses, which means they aren't just one word long. And listening also means I'm going to avoid talking about myself. My friend needs support, so I should focus on them. Even though I might feel connected to what they're going through, I want to focus on their experience instead of mine. The last component of good listening is to avoid giving advice. While advice can be helpful, often our friends come to us because they need space to talk and to be listened to. It's possible that they don't want advice right now, or that our advice just won't be helpful. If you really feel like your advice will help your friend, just make sure to ask before giving the advice. You can use a buffer question to let them know that you want to offer advice. An example of a buffer question is, I know someone who went through something similar. I know what helped them. I'm not sure if it will help you, but do you want to hear that advice? That way, the power is in your friend's hands. If they want that advice, you can give it to them. But if they say they don't want that advice, you can respect that and simply listen. After practicing all of those awesome listening skills, the second thing you can do is ask questions. A good thing to remember is to use open-ended questions as much as possible. Open-ended questions are ones that a friend can't answer with simply yes or no. Some good examples might be, how long have you been feeling this way? How bad do those feelings get? What do you normally do when you feel like this? How can I help you right now? As I'm listening to my friend and asking them questions, there might be a point when I start to get concerned about them. If my friend said something like, I feel really trapped and I don't know how much longer I can take it, or I just want to go to sleep and never wake up, I would want to ask my friend about suicide. I would follow up with something like, it seems like you're really going through a lot. Are you having thoughts of suicide? It might be hard to imagine asking a friend about this. Asking a friend about suicide can be scary and awkward, but asking that question is one of the best things you can do for your friend who's struggling. It's an okay thing to ask whether or not the answer is yes. If someone isn't feeling that way, we can't magically pop those thoughts into their head. But often people who are having thoughts of suicide are also feeling like a burden. So it's really hard for them to start the conversation about their thoughts of suicide on their own. What helps them is when a friend or a loved one asks them directly about suicide, because what that does is open the door to a conversation. Then all your friend has to do is take one step through to get some help. After listening and asking questions, the third and final step is to get help. The help my friend might need depends on the answer we get to, are you having thoughts of suicide? If I ask that question, my friend could give me one of two answers, yes or no. Let's start with no. If my friend responds no, I'm not having thoughts of suicide, I would follow up simply with something like, thanks for sharing that with me. Then it's important that I keep supporting that friend. Even though they aren't feeling suicidal, they still need me just as much as they did before. But what if my friend says yes? Or what if my friend says yes, but you can't tell anyone? This can be a difficult position to be put in. I'd probably be feeling a bit stuck. I might feel like I don't want to break my friend's trust after they opened up to me, but there also might be a part of me that knows that this is really heavy and I shouldn't be the only person holding on to this secret. What we want you to know is that it's way too big of a secret to keep to yourself. If your friend says, yes, I am having thoughts of suicide, but don't tell anyone, it's really important that you get them help. If I were in this situation, I might say something like, I care about you too much to keep that secret. Who can we go to get more support? Even if my friend doesn't want me to tell anyone, it's incredibly important that I get more support. It's possible that my friend will be mad at me if I do that. They just told me not to tell someone, and now I'm suggesting that that's exactly what we do. I do suicide prevention work with Samaritans every day, and I know that this situation happens a lot. But even I wouldn't keep this secret to myself. What we usually hear from the friend who said not to tell anyone is that they were mad at first, but when they got connected to resources and support, they were happier and healthier. They looked back and were pretty thankful that their friend broke their trust and got help. At the end of the day, if my friend tells me that they're feeling suicidal, it's really important to remember that I need to get them help. and I should be calling a trusted adult to support me and my friend throughout that time. So there you have it. Those are the 3 steps of how to support a friend. Listen, ask, and get help. Remember that even during this tough time, Samaritans is here to help you and your friends. Please call or text us on our helpline if you need support. We're available 24/7. The helpline number is 877-870-4673. We hope to see you all in the fall to review these skills and teach you even more about how to help the people you care about. I hope you're all staying safe and healthy. And remember, even when we're far away from each other, we can stay close by emotionally supporting our friends.